Welcome to another video from Chris's Central Station. Today we have something absolutely fantastic for you. The world of clockwork trains. And I'm visiting Colin in Western Australia. And this man beat me by 2 years. In 1955 he got a 501 Hornby clockwork train. I didn't get mine until 1957. So this is the sort of layout that we would do on the floor at our house when we were small and we could crawl in all those spaces. Colin, who I'm now going to introduce you to, now has to work out how to fix up derailed trains. We'll just have a look around before we talk to Colin. As you can see, everything we see around here is mainly British, mainly Hornby, but not necessarily all. And we've got a lot of engines, even got some electric Ferrises up there, but of course this is all clockwork. And what's the key to this layout? Well, the key to the layout is not the man you just saw, which is Colin. It's this box of keys here. Because when you run clockwork trains, you need lots of keys. And as I discovered when I was young, when you run a clockwork train, you put the key in the tender. So when it stops, you know where the key is. So let's ask Colin a few questions about this layout. How long have you had this layout, Colin?
Oh, I suppose it manifested itself after I retired, probably about 99, 2000.
So it's 25 years, that's quarter of a century. And you fix all your trains and make them, don't you?
Try to.
Try to. There's a lot of wagons here that you've built. How many wagons do you reckon you've built?
In the early days when I was starting off, I'd probably made 30 or 40, I suppose.
30 or 40, so not quite up to Alan Middleton's standard, but certainly getting up there. And if I do a close-up of some of them, you'll see they're a very high standard. Now, what Colin's going to run is this engine, which I've asked him to set up with a couple of carriages. And before we do, I want you to just to have a look at this part of the track in here. See all those crossovers? When I was a kid, the rule was you always had to use all your pieces. And I think Colin has used all the pieces he's ever had in clockwork. But he's done one thing extra special for those of you who like wide curves. These corners are 3-foot radius. Hornby don't make them. So Colin has modified them, as you can see, to give nice blunt curves so the trains run better. So what are you going to run for us today, Colin? What's this engine you've got down over here?
This is a little Bing that was specially made in about 1929 for carriages in England. Fitted with the normal Bing 3-couple clockwork motor. It was probably the Rolls Royce in its time, and the fact that it's still going now, it's about probably over 90 years old.
Almost 129, and it's a tribute to your maintenance, I would say, as well. All right, well, now Colin's got this set up so that if the train doesn't complete the loop, one of us has to crawl on the table, and he's bigger than me, so he's nominated me to be the man. So let's hope that that doesn't happen. But I want you to try and follow where this train goes. Okay, Colin, do you want to let it rip? Ooh, we're going to get around. And it's stopped in the middle of the table. Well, we'll leave it there for a moment and we'll just look around at what we've got. If you was to have a look at some of these stations, you'll see that Colin has Australianised them with names of Australian stations or places. The Australia Post mark is on the back of that station. All the loads are filled up with these carriages, with his wagons. And those ones there are ones that Collins have made with the calico covers on them. And for those of you who like spam, spam, spam and more spam, that's 4 cans of spam, because that's what those cans are, spam cans. I was hoping for a big accident with the spam, but Colin decided that that isn't what he does. So
the other ones, the wagons over there are made on Hornby chassis, and that's different formations of aluminium sheeting.
So there you go, aluminium sheeting. That's these wagons here. So uses the Hornby basis and then puts new covers on. He's got 2 nice engine sheds. Now, you might think that this looks a bit sparse, but Colin and his good lady pulled this all apart and cleaned it, and they've just rebuilt it. If you have a look, Colin, if you'll just duck a moment, you'll see a box there of scenery items, and behind that a field of signals, which you can just see if I zoom in. All of that has to go back on the track, but I think the problem was the dust. Now, Colin, do you want to show us how you, without making me climb on the table, rescue the engine?
Yeah,
Almost. Oh, wouldn't it normally get past me? So he'll have to walk all the way around. But we'll just have a look at some of the stations. Some nice fence work. I think Colin has used every bit. There's crossovers, turntables, all the various points. Yes, he's got parallel points. Have you got any Y points, Colin? I haven't seen any.
Yeah, there is one set of Ys in there. As part of a turning triangle.
Turning triangle. Yes, that's what the Ys were made.
Right in there where those other wagons are.
In that we can't see it because of that. So in other words, every one of the Hornby rail things, rails that have been made, plus a few of his own. And as you can see, the problem with Clockwork or any trains when you can't reach it is that they always derail or stop at the most inopportune thing. All right, we'll leave you with one last look. So when I was a boy, we didn't have quite as many as this, but we used to do complex layouts, as complex as we could with what we had, but we weren't allowed to, we wouldn't deign to cut any piece of rail up or do any damage because it was God's given trains. But Colin, he's older, more skills, and what a Clockwork layout. So I'm going to leave you here, and Colin and I are going to run trains for a while. At the end of it, my wrists will be much stronger from all the winding we'll have to do. So we'll say goodbye to Colin. Give us a wave, Colin.
All the best.
Thank you very much for watching Chris's Central Station.